Hello folks and welcome to Formula One Paddock Pass.
Ferrari,
Yes,
Ferrari,
well,
yes!
you see, he's spoilt the surprise. There is now no surprise because Ferrari won the Belgian Grand Prix 2018. Sebastian Vettel, thanks for ruining it. Lewis Hamilton led away from pole position, but down here at turn 1 at La Source, carambolage. Nico Hülkenberg into the back of Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso over the back and ultimately the front of Charles Leclerc. Daniel Ricciardo lost his rear wing. Kimi Raikkonen got a puncture. Bedlam down here at turn 1. Lewis Hamilton exited the corner in the lead of the race. Sebastian Vettel left just enough gap so that when they came onto the Kemmel Straight, Vettel had Hamilton exactly where he needed him, pulled alongside him to take the lead. What he wasn't expecting though, a Force India on either side. Esteban Ocon almost taking the lead of the race, but ultimately fell back into 4th place. Perez in 3rd, Hamilton in 2nd, Vettel up at the front. There was a safety car, but when that came in, pretty much everybody ended up where you'd expect them to. Daniel Ricciardo lost a lap in the pits trying to get his rear wing fixed. Kimi Raikkonen ended up retiring after he came in for his puncture. What else happened? Bottas from the back of the field to 4th place. Max Verstappen 3rd place. The Force India's double point score on what's essentially their first race of the season, having had all their points stripped from them coming into the weekend. What else? Haas double points. Horrible weekend for Renault. No points for them. Oh, Marcus Ericsson back in the points as well. Is that about it, Steve? I think that's about it. Let's talk to the top 3. Sebastian Vettel, absolutely delighted with his victory today, as well he should be. His 52nd Formula One Grand Prix victory takes him above Alain Prost, and does so quite incredibly on the track where his idol and mentor, Michael Schumacher, also recorded his 52nd Grand Prix victory, which at the time made him the most successful driver in Formula One history. Vettel delighted. Hamilton perhaps a little disappointed, not just in losing the victory today, but also in the great step that Ferrari have made forward with their new power unit. And Max Verstappen in front of an adoring crowd of Red Bull Racing fans here. The orange t-shirts swathing the track. Verstappen fans delighted, but nobody as happy as the Ferrari and Sebastian Vettel fans. For all but the first third of the first lap, you had this in your hands on a track that Mercedes has dominated in recent years. How good does this feel?
Yeah, it's good to continue change, and well, I mean, obviously yesterday was not ideal for us with how Q3 went, but putting the car in second, you know, especially here with the track layout, I knew that I had my chance. The start was crucial. It was important to have a bit better start, to then have the freedom to do a bit, you know, to play with him in first corner. And then I think I thought about that a lot last night in terms of when to start the attack, and it worked really well. I didn't have in my head the Force Indias that all of a sudden seemed to flag us or surround us, but I think they realized that there wasn't really a chance, you know, to go. But yeah, you can see how powerful that straight is. It's uphill. Everybody who cycled it or walked it knows that it's not flat. Yeah, towing obviously is important, but it worked for us. I think compared to last year, we had a bit less wing this weekend, and that helps obviously in Sector 1 and Sector 3. Safety car, then I thought, okay, now he gets the chance the other way around. I would be the victim, but yeah, I knew that the exit would be important, and when I saw that I had a really good exit in the first corner, carrying speed and still managing a good exit, then I thought I was safe, and it was nice to see that I was safe. After that, it was very intense first stint. In the second stint, I think he let go, and we could control the race a bit more.
Here in Monza, both power circuits, Ferrari and Mercedes both bought power unit upgrades. Yours appears to be the better. Are you positive for the next race?
Well, I hope so. I think that's the biggest compliment you can give to our motoristi. You know, Mercedes has dominated the power unit side for nearly 5 years. So yeah, I think it's great to see that we didn't give up as a team, and we hung in there. I think we had a big deficit years ago, and if now we are a match, that's great news, and they say we are far ahead, then that's a huge compliment.
Big record today. You surpassed Alain Prost's win record to move on to 52 at exactly the same track that Michael did. What does that mean to you?
What, like pass him or?
Michael scored his 52nd victory here.
Well, if that means that I get up to 92? 92, was it?
Pass him.
Is it 92? No, 91.
91, so 92 would go past.
No. But if that means that I will go, let's say 90, I'll be happy, very happy with 90 already. Sorry. Yeah, I think it's a huge number. Obviously, they didn't have that many races a year, so maybe it's not entirely fair. But I mean, who doesn't know Alain Prost? So I don't want to think the other. I don't want to continue that train of thought. But yeah.
This place has been Mercedes' home for a good number of years. Does it hurt to have Ferrari take the win today?
When you start first and you finish second, it always hurts. So it's never not the case. But I mean, I gave everything I could today. I pushed as hard as I could, got as much as I could out the car, and just didn't work, unfortunately.
There was a headwind down that Camel Straight. Is that what, as you got there first, is that what held you back with Seb, or is there?
No,
we know.
you look when he came out of turn one, he had just the perfect gap between me. There's nothing I could do really about it. So it was a perfect gap for him to shake and bake, basically, and slip. And I mean, geez, when he came past, he came sailing past. I had no answer to it, so it's racing.
Monza, in 1 week's time, have they got the advantage from a power perspective going to their home circuit, or can you do to Seb what he did to you at Silverstone?
No, I mean they've been quickest since Austria, really. I think going into Austria or just after Austria, and we don't really have an answer for them at the moment. So, and we've came here with a very, very good upgrade, and theirs is even better. How? I don't know, but so I need more power.
I really enjoyed it, and turn one and lap one was a bit of chaos around, especially behind me. But then I was very happy that I could get Grosjean into turn 5, and then from there on I knew that I had to be patient with the Force Indians because we had the pace to go by, and that's what we did. And after that was a bit of a lonely race, but enjoyable.
Could have done with some rain, really, couldn't you?
Could have done with some rain, but at the end of the day, I think this is also what we deserve today, third. So I'm very happy with that.
It's a continuation of this great run that you've been on since Monaco. How much optimism have you got moving to Monza and the continuation of the season?
Yeah, it's Monza. I think I'm going to enjoy the scenery more than the track. But I mean, that's how it goes. We know it's not going to be ideal for us, but of course we will give it all we got, like we did this weekend, and we came away with a podium. So never say never, but yeah, we know that we're going to struggle.
Now, we've already spoken about the power unit upgrades which both Mercedes and Ferrari brought to this race. Valtteri Bottas in the 77 car was so far through his allocation of power units through the year. However, that in taking that new lump in the back of his car, he had to start from the back of the grid and had probably one of the most exciting races of the day, fighting his way through the field and showing a good amount of sort of guts and grit and fighting spirit to make his way up to 4th at the checkered flag. Quite an enjoyable day for the Flying Finn.
Yeah, I think we made the most out of today. I don't think that anything more was possible. And I had a front wing damage at the start. I think it was my fault. I was surprised how quickly everyone stopped on the inside. Maybe also because of the crash because I saw Fernando flying on the outside of the corner. I touched the car ahead, got a front wing damage, stopped under the safety car, lost a bit of time there. But after that, everything was good. I was enjoying all the overtakes, and I don't think there was more to get today.
It looked like maximum attack Valtteri today.
It was maximum attack. It always is. So.
Was it fun?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun, especially through Rouge, going from the outside.
And obviously the step up with the power unit for this weekend, how important was that in drawing you through the field?
It was really important, but I think today has shown that we still need to keep pushing. Ferrari, I think, Sebastian could control the race. They've been quick all week, and they were quick today. So, we definitely need to keep working hard, because I think at the moment, on average, pace-wise, they're a little bit ahead now. So, need to keep trying.
Well, this has got to be, I think, the story of the racing weekend. We went into the summer break with massive uncertainty over the future of Force India. Administration was what the team was plunged into. They got out of it by the time we arrived here in Spa. But in so doing, they had to have a new entry to the sport. They lost all of their points, and so they started here in Belgium from zero. Uncertainty over the future of their drivers, but certainty over their financial stability and their future as an entity, racing and fiscally, in this sport and otherwise. However, what it meant was that they were no longer fighting for 4th place in the Constructors' Championship, but with a car that very much was and would find itself in an incredible position on the grid. In the rain, in qualifying, they surpassed their wildest expectations to start their first race from the second row of the grid. Ocon very nearly took the lead at Les Combes on the first lap. It was audacious, it was incredible. It's no less than we expect from these guys down here at Force India. They came home not on the podium as they would have hoped for, but when you're fighting against Ferraris, Mercedes and Red Bulls, it was always going to be a long shot. They came home, however, in 5th and 6th. They came into the weekend 10th in the Constructors on 0 points. They leave here 1 point behind Williams. No, they're massively ahead of Williams, 1 point behind Sauber in 8th. Think about that. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Great job, and so important for the morale of this team that has been through so much in recent weeks.
Yeah, very pleased, you know. I think we maximized the result. Lap 1 was quite chaotic, as always here, with a nice start. Tried, not so important the start, but going into turn 5 was important to position ourselves well. I was on the toe from Esteban, tried the inside, shut the door, so I tried to go around the outside and it worked. And yeah, it was quite nice to be battling at least in lap 1 with Vettel and Hamilton, but they have just another level of machinery, and I think we maximized the result as well, so I'm very pleased with that.
With everything that's gone on over the last few weeks, personally, what does this result mean to you?
It means a lot, you know. It's a nice comeback, a nice start of a new era for the team as well, so I think everyone should be quite pleased.
You came into the weekend on 0 points. The team is 1 point behind 8th place, leaving Spa.
The team is amazing, you know. I wouldn't be counting the points as if we are new. For me, we haven't changed anything, and I want to see ourselves. Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. I want to see ourselves at the end of the year in that 4th position in the Constructors.
Think it's possible?
I mean, just thinking that we haven't lost any points, you know. For me, that's the main target, that we score as many points to make sure that we finish theoretically in that position.
Now, lap 1, you're hurtling down the Kemmel Straight into Les Combes. You've got half a metre on Sebastian Vettel. At that moment, are you thinking, I could take the lead of this race, or are you thinking, we need the points here?
Both, to be honest. But I was missing this little edge of speed, you know, to get there. I was really on the inside, which is very tight, you know, to make the corner. So, yeah, I mean, I tried to go there, take the lead, but it didn't work out. Maybe I should have taken the outside. We'll never know. I will try to review it, and obviously I lost the place to Sergio then. So, yeah, sometimes it happens in racing, but anyway, it was a very strong weekend for us. Good pace all the way through, and clearly the 4th fastest team today. So pretty happy with how the weekend has gone, and you know, hopefully we will do the same in the rest of the races.
It's been a fabulous weekend. Came into it, the team had 0 points, 10th place in the Constructors. You leave 1 point off 8th place in the championship, so pretty good all round.
Are we 1 point behind 8th place? Oh, well, there we go. I said maybe we could finish 8th, so we are close. It's good. Well, yeah, I mean, after a weekend like that, it can only give us hope for the rest of them.
Now, we've mentioned Force India and the fact they came into this weekend with no points, being a new team. What that's meant is that the battle for 4th place in the championship, in the Constructors' Championship, is pretty much now between Renault and these guys down here at Haas. And with Renault having a horrible weekend in which they scored no points, critically, Haas came home with both cars in the points. 7/8 for them today is massive in terms of that championship and that fight for 4th. Both drivers delighted with what was a fairly lonely race, but a very important result.
It is. It's a really good race and really a lot of points for us versus 0 for Renault. So that's a positive. The race, well, I tried to get a fight with the Force India, but they were just a little bit quicker, so it's difficult to keep up with them. And then, yeah, just a lonely race, which was all right at the end, you know, doing the best we could and getting 2 cars in the points together without any trouble. That was perfect.
Really good day for the team to score, you know, 10 points. on a day that Renault didn't score any points is important, and we're now not that far away from them in the standings. So we know they're strong, and it's gonna be a tough fight all the way to the end. They're gonna improve, and we're gonna have to improve as well. So development wise. So I think it's going to be exciting, but today is definitely a good day.
There's a pink fly in the ointment, though, isn't there, in Force India, that you and Renault are now exclusively pretty much fighting for 4th place. They've got a very quick car, though, that can get into that battle, despite the fact they're only going to be fighting over 8th or 7th place now.
Yeah, I think Force India have a bit of a history here in Spa, and they've always been kind of strong here. They've had a pole position and a few podiums, and it's always been their track. So let's see. I mean, we know they're strong, and they were strong in Baku as well, and those kind of high-speed tracks, they are generally very good. So it's not that big a surprise, but we don't want them much quicker than this.
Now, Spa traditionally has not been the circuit for Honda, given that it is a power circuit, and Honda, as we know, have struggled for power over the years. This year, however, Toro Rosso Honda came home in the points. A great result for Pierre Gasly after a wonderful tussle with Marcus Ericsson. One of the few, shall we say, racing highlights of the race itself. Great drive from you today. It looked quite fun for those few laps with Marcus. Happy with the points?
Yeah, really happy. Difficult weekend for us on such a track, and finally to end up with 2 points is really positive. So car was great. I had a good start, managed to be alongside Daniel and Kimi in turn 1, and managed to avoid the big crash apparently behind me. So after that, not much happened in my race, but really positive to score 2 points.
Does it show the progress being made by Honda, by the team, or by both?
Everyone, honestly, everyone. The car has been great. Honda was good in the beginning of the weekend as well. We knew compared to us and Force India, we'll struggle to fight with them, but yeah, definitely we made the best out of our package this weekend, and it's really good to score these 2 points.
Now, coming into the weekend, Marcus Ericsson told us in pre-race Paddock Pass on Thursday how hard he'd worked over the summer break to remember to focus on himself and what he was doing wrong, rather than channeling all his focus on Charles Leclerc and what he was doing right. Certainly he thought that was critical for qualifying, which he believed was the one thing of the season that had been letting him down. Ultimately, it was the car that let him down in qualifying, or certainly fuel. I think the amount of fuel he had in his car that didn't allow him a second run. He had a great race today. Brilliant battle, as we've already mentioned, with Pierre Gasly. He ultimately came home in 10th place. But given where he's been through and the journey that he's had to take, having been definitely the team leader and the point scorer at the start of the season, then Leclerc coming into his own and really taking over that mantle of leading the team. Ericsson today on a race where Leclerc was out at the turn 1. Really brought it all home, kept his composure for a very important point for both him, the team in terms of physical points, but I think more mentally for Ericsson than anything else. That 1 point would be very important. Marcus, on a day of very little action, you gave us a lot of excitement, so thank you for that. You enjoy your race?
Yeah, it was quite fun. I had some good fights in the beginning with Sirotkin, and then I was trying to line up Gasly, but yeah, we were a bit too even on pace. And then me and Brendan had a good fight there after the pit stop, so that was fun. Nice to come out on top of it.
And to come back home in the points as well. I know you talked about how much you've changed your mindset over the summer break. Qualifying went great, race went great. How positive do you feel for the rest of the season?
I think it's been a very good weekend for me and also for the team, to be honest. We were a bit disappointed in Q2 yesterday because we had some issues with both cars. But apart from that, we've been very, very strong all weekend, and I think today in the race as well, it was a solid performance. So we bring confidence from that, and now we go to Alfa Romeo's home in Monza, so that should be a great weekend.
Do you remember as a kid when your parents said that's not music, that's just noise? Am I getting old, or is this what counts as dance music these days? Anyway, Renault had a horrible weekend. Not great. Hulkenberg, as we've already said, took the blame for going down into turn 1 and getting us braking all wrong. We'll hear from him at the end of the show. Carlos, though, awful qualifying yesterday, lost the performance in the car, didn't quite know where it had gone, said that he and the team would investigate overnight. They took a new power unit for the race this morning, but opted not to change the setup of the car and therefore start from the pit lane. An odd choice when you look at the fact that he was still struggling all the way through the Grand Prix today. A weekend that Renault will not look back on kindly, particularly as we've already said, Haas got both cars into the points.
We were definitely struggling in Sector 2 today. That's why overtaking was particularly difficult, because it was very difficult to get into the DRS of the other cars. But yeah, when you lack confidence and balance in Sector 2 around this track, it's pretty much detrimental. No? So something to analyze, something to look into, especially because on Friday I was more comfortable with the car. But it's how it is. We know we need to improve the package, the whole car, to be more competitive in this kind of tracks that we know we struggle a bit more.
Why was the decision taken not to start from the pit lane today, given how unhappy you were yesterday?
Well, we always feel like starting 19th like today, if something happens at the start like it happened, again, you can gain places, while even if something happens at the start and you start from the pit lane, you're still going to be last after turn 1. No? So we felt there was more chances of getting points like that. Still, as we don't know the problem in the car, or the big change in balance, we didn't know what to change in the car. But now that we'll have a couple more days to analyze everything, we will have a clearer mind in Monza.
Tough times for Williams at the moment. Well, it has been all season long, but if one thing has continued to impress me throughout this year, it is the resolute positivity and, I think, intelligence of Sergei Sirotkin. He's not getting quite as much love as he should do this year, I believe. Let's hear from him now. The team didn't score points today, but as we've become used to this season, Sergei Sirotkin taking the positives out of every small step forward, realising that they're never going to achieve that enormous leap that they need to be scoring points consistently. It is those small incremental gains that will ultimately lead them back to where they need to be.
It was a good race. I enjoyed the first couple of laps. It was a bit of a fight. Actually, I was fighting with Marcus for like 5-6 laps, been ahead for a couple of laps, and I mean, it was a reasonable fight. We didn't seem to be like we're missing that much, you know, and obviously he finished in the points, so, you know, there are some positives you can take away. I mean, in terms of the race pace, for sure, we've been closer than ever. You could see in the end I was following Carlos quite, let's say, with the same pace, and I think if I would not caught the Toro Rosso in quite a bad moment for me after the pit stop, and if I would not struggle behind him for the couple of laps, I would probably was able to keep the Carlos behind me, which would be a mega result for, you know, in terms of where we are and how we are. So I mean, I think we can take quite a lot of positives from it. So.
Some green shoots of recovery then, the positivity for the second half of the season.
Yeah, I would not say it's enough to be, you know, to say that we're done and it's going to be smooth from now on, but you know, it's nice to see, because we're putting a lot of effort, all of us, and then when you hardly see anything, or sometimes you see even bad things instead of, you know, progress, it was difficult to keep working for me, you know, for all the guys back at the factory. So I mean, it's nice to try and find some positives and take it away with us, and I hope we can do that today.
Now, on a weekend where McLaren were celebrating, if you can call it celebrating, 50 years since Bruce McLaren's first win, and it was here at Spa for his eponymous team. Things did not go at all well. Stoffel van Dorn, the local hero, was plumb last in every practice session, plumb last in qualifying, and the race, they threw a Hail Mary. They pitted him under safety car, hoping that something might happen later in the race. It didn't, but that was the only chance they had on a weekend where everything went horribly wrong. Fernando Alonso out before the first corner. Stoffel van Dorn with a weekend to forget. Just not your weekend, really, was it?
Yeah, pretty boring race today, to be honest. You know, luckily everyone was okay after the start, and we tried to do something different with the tires, pitting behind the safety car, but you know, that didn't really work out. So I don't think any miracles for us today, and yeah, I think in general a boring race.
Was it just a Hail Mary? Literally just roll the dice, try what you can, and you know, if it comes off, mega. You look like a hero. If not, to hell with it. You're gonna have a nightmare anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think we more or less confirmed our pace anyway, that we're not very quick at all, and the only chance of having a good result or you know, look good is to try something completely different, and yeah, it didn't work, but I don't think we lost anything by doing it.
So naturally, as you would expect from Paddock Pass, we've done everything a little bit upside down and back to front. We're going to end the show with the thing that happened at the start of the race. The incident down at turn 1. You're going to hear from Fernando Alonso, Nico Hülkenberg. We might as well throw in. Should we throw in Kimi Raikkonen and Daniel Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc as well? Hey, we're back from the summer holidays. Why not give the guys in the office a bit more work? They'll love us for that, won't they? Look, we've talked about that incident down at turn 1. You're going to hear from Hülkenberg, who does pretty much accept total responsibility for the incident. Whether he'll receive a harsh penalty or not, we don't know. The stewards are deciding that at the moment. But if you think back to what happened here with Romain Grosjean all those years ago, he received a race ban. I've seen in some areas of the press, Fernando Alonso, some quotes from him post-race calling for the same thing. Interestingly, back then, the stewards used as their justification for the race ban the fact that he took out championship contenders, which today Hülkenberg didn't do. Always had a bit of an issue with that, placed a value judgment on the drivers. Anyway, we'll see what the result of those deliberations are. Let's hear from the drivers that were so affected by that first corner incident. And also listening to the words of Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc and from Fernando Alonso in the importance of the halo. It's had its detractors over the years since its introduction. I've been one of them, but on the basis of today, when you look at how close we came to something hitting Charles Leclerc on his helmet, I don't think there can be much doubt now that it may still not be the most aesthetically pleasing thing in the world, but if it avoids major incident to driver in the cockpit, it can't be that much of a bad thing, can it? Fernando, big airborne moment. First question, obviously, are you okay? Anything sore, anything hurt?
Not yet. I think now I feel okay, but I think we need to wait a couple of hours just to see how everything develops. But I think on the positive side, we are all fine, especially Charles, that I flew over his car. And the halo today was a very good thing to have.
Nothing you could have done about it, obviously. What was the first thing you knew? Was it the big hit, or was it something you saw in your mirrors?
First I saw in the mirror Nico with all 4 tires locked and missed the braking point. And then I felt the impact. Sad because to miss so much the braking point, it's not a couple of meters. He came with a speed that you don't come even in qualifying laps. So, sad because these kind of mistakes, they have high consequences. And today, luckily, we are all 3 fine.
Talk us through the start.
Not so much to talk through, it ended pretty quickly, obviously quite, bitter and frustrating to finish the race that early in that style. I think I got surprised a little bit with the amount of little grip I have, what we see often on lap 1, these cars, when you have a few cars bunched up in front of you, you lose so much load and grip on the car, and that caught me by surprise. I misjudged my braking point just a bit too late, instantly locked up the front axle, both my tires, and then there was no stopping the accident.
Kimi, innocent victim of that first lap. Talk us through the retirement.
Much somebody obviously hit me, and then there was so much damage on the car, the rear wing, the end plate, and then honestly the floor, and then it turned out that the DRS kept opening itself, so it's not much we could do.
Hey Daniel, not much you could have done about that today. Talk us through the start.
Yeah, not a whole lot. Just getting in turn 1, I felt a hit, and then felt a hit, and then I've gone into Kimi, so just a chain reaction, I guess. I saw Alonso was pretty spectacular, but I believe he was hit by Hülkenberg, so pretty big crash for how low the speeds are getting into turn 1, so I guess he's gone in pretty hard. I don't know if Hülkenberg had an issue or not, but just a shame. Obviously, a few of our races were ruined after that, and as I said, in the effect, I've then ruined Kimi's. But it's just a chain reaction, which isn't cool. But we tried to go back out and get if there was a safety car, we would have got our lap back, but and maybe got some points. But we tried, it didn't happen. Just a chain reaction, and then we had damage as well after. Even though the team put a new rear wing on, car was still in a pretty bad place.
Charles, not much you could do today about all of that, but how thankful are you for a halo?
Well, obviously it helped me out, and I'm grateful for that. I'm more thinking at the potential of the race that has been thrown away in the first corner. It's a shame. Also in Budapest, I was a bit of a passenger today also, so it's a bit of a shame. But we have Monza to bounce back next week, and I'm really looking forward to that.
So that's your lot from Paddock Pass. It was Mercedes on pole position at a track at which they have dominated in recent years, certainly since the start of the turbo era. But it's these guys that leave as the winners, and one might suggest as I'm not going to say the better team at the moment, but certainly it seems the more competitive and certainly the faster. As Lewis Hamilton said at the top of this show, I need more power. And he's only got a few days for the team to give it for him, because we are in Monza in just a couple of days' time. Ferrari's home race, another power circuit, and on the basis of this weekend, there's going to be a very happy Tifosi come Sunday afternoon. Facebook, no, we don't do the Facebook thing, do we? It's the Twitters. It's been so long since I've done it, I forget where we do it. Twitter Live coming to you in Monza after the race, so don't miss that. Don't look for it on Facebook because it won't be there, it'll be on Twitter. I'm good at this. That's your lot for Paddock Pass. We'll see you in Monza.